Hey, what is up, Southwest students? It is your homegirl, our dog, again. If you don't know who I am our dog, and only address me by our dog. Thank you. So if you had finals, I hope your finals went well. You guys went peaceful, and now you're done with school. If not, we are praying for you guys because I know a lot of you guys have finals this week. And remember that once this is over, it's Christmas time. Elf, spaghetti, syrup, all that jazz starts happening. So congratulations. But after this whole Buddy the Elf season, we have Unite in January, which is on the 13th, and it is glow themed. So make sure you guys wear your neon or white, but suggested neon wear on January 13th for Unite. And also remember, for the rest of 2020, if you're in a small group, there are no more small groups. So don't be showing up at the church because none of us will be here. But if you are not in a small group, remember that it's not too late to sign up for a small group for 2021. So if you want, there's a link in the description below, or you can just put in the chat small group in all caps and a small group leader will respond to you. Perfect, easy, efficient, we love it. So now we are going to go into our message. So our three reminders, or message reminders. One is note takers are history makers. Oh, so good. Good job. I love it. The energy through the roof. Second, attentive people are responsive people. Oh, way to respond to that one because you're being attentive. And also, leaders are learners. Good job. You guys did awesome. Thanks for saying it with me and enjoy this message.
When I was a little kid, maybe third or fourth grade, I discovered the magic that is dipping my French fries in McDonald's ice cream. And I hope all of you listening have done the exact same thing. But if you've tried this, and you've probably experienced the disgusted looks that you get from people when you do it. See, they look at you like you just stepped on a puppy or something. What I discovered is that when I'm eating an ice cream dipped French fry, they look at me like I just soaked a potato in milk and just ate it. It's not what I'm doing, it's not what we're doing. They just don't understand. See, in their eyes, they're seeing me combine two completely incompatible things. But what they don't know is that if they tried it, it could change their world. See, in my eyes, I see faith and science in the same exact light. But more often than not, some Christians will just push away any idea or any evidence of science, and scientists will often push away any idea or belief of God. This topic isn't about winning an argument. It shouldn't be about yes or what's right and what's wrong, but the things that work together to show between science and God how that God created this universe and why he created this universe. If this topic, it's a pretty tough subject to go over. I mean, some of you listening to this, you might be thinking, I don't really relate to this, and I mean, that may be the case, and you just trust God that he's going to take care of you. But there's a lot of people that really deal with this topic and are fighting back and forth between which is right and which is wrong. And I want to tell you that that's not something that you have to do. Because when you put these two things together, just like the ice cream and the French fry, it works really well together, and it honestly can change your world. Today I want to tell you why this take of science and faith isn't true, and how a thoughtful relationship between the two can really be important for the engaging of our hearts and minds through our walk with God. I just want to continue this with a quote from an American biologist. His name is Jerry A. Cohen. He wrote a book called Faith versus Fact, and he rejects any cooperation or compatibility between the two beliefs of faith and science. In the book, he says science and religion are incompatible, and you must choose between them. To me, and to the rest of us who knows that God created the world, this isn't true. They can work together. What you hear from a lot of people is that the Bible doesn't want to say anything about science. But I would also call this claim false. I would say that the Bible wasn't written as a scientific textbook, but it was written as a theological textbook and more of a roadmap to walk us through life with God and as a Christian. See, the Bible, it doesn't teach us about nuclear fusion. It doesn't teach us that the sun shines by turning hydrogen into helium, but we do know that God said, let there be light, and with that, he created the sun. The Bible doesn't tell us how you can power a light bulb with a potato, but we know that Genesis 1:11 says, then God said, let the land sprout with vegetation. And if you didn't know, potatoes are included along with vegetation, all that stuff. So if you're approaching the Bible as a scientific textbook, I can guarantee you're going to end up being disappointed. But if you approach the scriptures the way that it was intended, with all intentionality, your world really can change. So what does the Bible have to say about science, faith, and creation? I'll give you 3 points. The first point I'll tell you is that the Bible reveals that God is a creator. In Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Isaiah 45:18 says, "For this is what the Lord says. He created the heavens, he is God. He who fashioned and made the earth, he founded it. He did not create it to be empty, but formed it to be inhabited. He says, I am the Lord, and there is no other." The Bible goes on and on. Colossians 1:17, Psalms 104:5, and Romans 1:20, and you can pick out verses anywhere from any book of the Bible, and it talks about how God is a creator. The second point I'll give you is that the world belongs to God because he created it all. Psalms is really good for this point. In Psalms 89:11, it says that the heaven is yours and yours also the earth. You founded the world and all that is in it. Psalms 93:1 says that the Lord reigns, he is robed in majesty. The Lord is robed in majesty and armed with strength. Indeed, the world is established firm and secure. And I just love the picture that this kind of puts in my mind because I see all creation in all of its beauty. And I see just God wrapping his arms around it. And it's like he's wrapping, giving us a hug, to show us that we're firm and secure, but also to show us that he loves us. And I love that picture. The third point that I'll give to you is that the Bible reveals God to make himself known as the creator to the created through his creation. God reveals himself as a creator to the created through the creation. Romans 1:19-20 says, Since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. Verse 20 says, For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so the people are without excuse. And I love this passage in Romans as well, because it blatantly says that God gave us no excuse but to believe that he is the creator, because everything that he created is so perfect. This is, as far as the Bible and science, this is about as far as the Bible will get, as far as any specific scientific knowledge. So it's only going to accomplish so much. But see, science asks the question of how. How did this happen? How was this created? So that only accomplishes so much as well. So even science is limited in its scope because it's only concerned with that question of how. In a book by a Christian author named Robert Velarde, he wrote a book called Conversations with C.S. Lewis. And he makes a really good argument about this, but it's pretty long. It's got a lot of big words, I can't even pronounce them. So I'm just going to do us all a favor and sum it up. Essentially, he says that if science could answer every single question ever proposed, it would bring us no closer to understanding why we are here on this earth. It would bring us no closer to understanding why there's a universe, why we have the knowledge to even know what science is. Not all scientists will agree that the God of the Bible, our God, is a creator of all things. But many will conclude that science shows some sort of design, some sort of design behind the creation of the universe and really of the world. So science shouldn't be ignored, but instead looked into a greater depth for the way that God created things. Upon this topic, a Christian scientist by the name of Freeman Dyson said this: "The more I examine the universe and the details of its architecture, the more evidence I find that in the universe, that the universe in some sense must have known that we were coming." So my question today that I'm going to ask is, does modern day science contradict what the Bible has to say about creation? But really, what is science? Essentially, through a lot of definitions and kind of just like packing it into one, I would say science is knowledge and information that is collected by continuous tests and experiments trying to prove or disprove a theory. So science asks these great questions of how, like how does this work? And continually, scientists will answer their questions with science. So in order for science to remain science, it needs to have a lot of faith in itself. Scientific theory, it's what's called empirical. Basically, it's constantly observed and open to falsification. So if something contradicts scientific theory, it's put to the test. Scientists do this often with the theory of Darwinian evolution. Because if a theory does not fit the evidence, it's usually abandoned as a whole. So they're constantly testing the belief and theory of evolution. C.S. Lewis, he's a Christian philosopher, and he's written a lot of books. He once asked the question, why is science even possible? And I just think that this question is so good because it's such a little question with so many answers. Why is science possible? Why do we have the ability to have the knowledge of science? How can we reason? Why do we know what is right and wrong? Who gave us this ability? Well, I believe that God created us in his own image. And if God has the ability to love, if God has the ability to do right, then so do we. So now that we have gone over what science is, what would be the answer to the question that I asked before? Does modern day science contradict what the Bible has to say about creation? So I would reply with yes, but I would also reply with no. And I'm sorry to confuse you, but I got to go over both of them. And I would say no because there is no conflict between the Bible and science itself. We believe that God created the world with natural laws and order, and those are literally the foundations of science. But I would also respond to this question with yes, because when it comes to scientific naturalism, which is also, it's just a fancy word for atheism, they would go as far to say that there is no God. And in this sense, then I would say that the Bible and science are in complete contradiction. Now, to be a scientific naturalist or an atheist, you'd have to believe in a couple different things. So I just want to explain, I want to go over a few of them with you guys. To be a scientific naturalist, or also known as an atheist, you would need to believe that nothing produces everything. And that takes a lot of faith just to believe in. J.P. Moreland, he's a professor at Biola University, and he also wrote a book called The God Question. In it, he says, you can't get something from nothing. If the universe began with dead matter having no consciousness, how then do you get something totally different? Consciousness, living, thinking, feeling, and believing creatures. From materials that don't even have that. But if everything started in the mind of God, we don't have a problem explaining the origin of our mind. You would have to believe that nothing produces everything. You would have to believe that literal dead matter created the specimen, that's Michael Jordan. Or the specimen that is Brock Johnson. You know what I mean? You'd have to believe that nothing created everything. Another thing that you would need to believe in if you were an atheist is that non-life produces life. I personally, I can't grasp the idea that the universe just created itself. Because if the universe has a beginning, that suggests that there was somebody there to begin it. An American physicist, Francis Collins, agrees with me on this topic. And so I just feel like, and this is, I got the quote, just kind of summed up. Atheists believe that something not living or breathing created everything that is perfect in this world. Such as the fact that all plants have literally produced the one gas that we need to survive, and we give off one gas that they need to survive. Just those things, non-life producing life, there's just little things that just common sense, it just makes sense that there was something there to begin everything. One other thing that atheists would need to believe is that randomness produces fine-tuning. Take these shoes that I own, or this one shoe. This is an Air Force One, it's a level 8, and you just look at it, and you don't think, I guarantee you show this shoe to anybody, and they're not going to think, oh, wow, that's crazy. They're pretty cool, but I wonder how they randomly got put together. Nobody would look at this shoe, all the nice colors and the stitching, the suede, and think, yeah, well, that was randomly put together. I wonder how that happened. Because that's not common sense. It's very obvious that if you look at this shoe, or really any shoe, or a book, it's obvious that there is something, a designer behind, it may be a team approving and getting its way to production so these shoes can be sold. I found a quote from an astronomer named Fred Hoyle that kind of agrees and goes along with this whole thing, and I had to add it in. He says, the probability of life arising on Earth by purely natural means without special divine aid is less than the probability that a flight-worthy Boeing 747 should be assembled by a hurricane roaring through a junkyard. Now, if you don't know what a Boeing 747 is, it's basically just a big airplane. And what he's saying is that the likeliness that there is no God that created everything in this universe is the same thing as believing that a hurricane could pass through a junkyard of just complete scrap metal. And after it passes through, there's just a Boeing 747 ready to fly. It's got the pilot and everything. It's mind-boggling. The world was not randomly strung together, and neither were we. There was intelligent design, and it is proved and backed by science. I believe that God is the creator of everything, so I would answer yes to the question because Christianity is in conflict with scientific naturalism. Because we believe that there's a God that created all things for the good of his people. So to have the audacity to claim that there is no God, that itself kind of seems like it would take a lot of faith to believe in. The Bible tells us why God created the universe, but with science we can find out how he created the universe. So I encourage you not to push away one belief or the other, but just because it's different, but instead embrace the other, and I promise you will walk away with your walk with God, and it will change immensely. I want to leave you just with one quick thought that I have. Imagine you're preparing for the biggest math final of your life, okay? And you're just going through the questions and you come across one that you don't really know the answer to. If you want to get the best possible score on the test that you can, you're going to go to your teacher to see if they can help you solve it, or you're going to go into your textbook to see how to solve it, and you practice it over and over. When I have a problem in life that I don't think is going to turn out so well, or anything good, I do my best to turn to God, and I go and I ask him, what can I do? And I pray to him and I worship him. I also go to the Bible to see what it says about it. And 10 times out of 10, because of doing that, I'm better. So I challenge you, when you don't understand something, don't turn away from it, but instead turn to faith and figure it out. Thank you.
My feet may fail me, my hands may shake, my life may crumble, my heart may break, but through the darkness, you are the light. I know forever, you hold my life. I believe in you. I believe your love is strong enough for me. It's with me when I'm weak, and everything I need is in your love. Constant in the trials, and faithful through the night. Everything I need is in you. And my faith may falter, my hope may fade, my voice may tremble, my fear may wake, but through my failures, your mercies rise. I know forever, you're on my side. I believe in you. I believe your love is strong enough for me, with me when I'm weak, and everything I need is in your love. And constant in the trials, and faithful through the night, and everything I need is in you. When I will not be shaken, when I will not be moved, your love will last forever, and the victory's in you. And I will not be shaken, and I will not be moved. I believe in you. And I believe in your love is strong enough for me. With me when I'm weak, and everything I need is in your love. You're constant in the trials, you're faithful through the night. Everything I need is in your love. It's strong enough for me. With me when I'm weak. And everything I need is in your love. You're constant in the trials. You're faithful through the night. And everything I need is in your love.
That was such a great message with a lot of amazing information. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to DM us on Instagram, or you can text your small group leader and ask them. Also, January 13th is Unite, and it is a glow theme, so make sure you guys wear neon and you sign up. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you guys later.